What is up, my bearded bros? Maine-iac here with the playoff pictures as they are, and boom, as you can see here, this is what it's currently looking like. In the West, at the 1 seed we have the Denver Nuggets. At the 2 seed we have the Warriors. 3 seed would be the Thunder. 4 seed the Lakers. 5th seed the Clippers. So it would be an LA first round matchup, all home games, which is interesting for sure. Dallas at the 6th seed, Memphis at the 7th seed, and Portland at the 8th seed. In the East, we have Toronto at the 1, Milwaukee at the 2, Indiana at the 3, Philly at 4, Boston at 5, Detroit at 6, Charlotte at 7, and Orlando at 8. One interesting thing to know about the recent changes in the current playoff seeding is the Trailblazers sliding down oh so badly at their last 10. If you look at it, they're 4-6, and the Mavericks, who are at the 6, are 7-3 in their last 10, gaining 3 games over the Portland Trailblazers, who are technically now tied, but due to the slightly better win percentage, the Mavericks hold the 6th seed, and the Trailblazers are hanging on only half a game ahead of the 9th seed Sacramento Kings. Other disappointments here: San Antonio and Houston and New Orleans, being currently at 500, are a game and a half out of the playoffs picture as it is. Jazz at 14-6 are currently 2.5 games out of the playoff picture in the West, and Minnesota has fallen to second to last record in the West at 3 games behind the 8th seed. In the East is definitely different, with the 7th and 8th seed both having losing records at 14-15. But it's a lot closer up towards the top, with only a game and a half separating Milwaukee and Boston from the 2 seed to the 5th seed. Big noticeable changes in the Eastern Conference this week is Boston's 8-2 record over the last 10 games, bringing them from 10-9 to 18-11, gaining 4 games on the Pistons and 3 games on the Hornets, and the Magic to at least gain some ground on them and actually pass the Pistons as is. Another interesting notable fact is the 76ers slipping past the Pacers down to the 4th seed, and the Pacers currently only being half a game behind Milwaukee is very interesting. Biggest disappointment in the East would have to definitely be, for me, the Miami Heat. The inconsistencies that some of this team hold, and the fact that they're only 5-9 at home, are costing this team big time. 5-9 at home. If you flip that around, put them at 9-5. Currently, they're at 16-12, which would put them at the 6th seed. The fact that they can't defend home court, because they're 7-7 on the road, the fact that they can't defend home court is sad. Anyway, let's get into these matchups as quick as possible and say what we would think would happen if the playoffs started today. Denver at Portland. I think this would be a 4-game sweep. I don't think Portland can shoot consistently enough. I don't think their roster is deep enough to really contend with the Nuggets. I think Jokic would carry the Denver team in this one. Obviously, Will Barton hopefully would be healthy by then. Very, very interesting for sure, but I do think Denver would sweep, if not take this in 5. I just don't trust the whole roster of Portland in this one enough. Now, the Lakers at the Clippers, I think playoff LeBron would show up. I think that would be a problem. I think the Lakers would win this one in 6. Like I said before, it'd be interesting to see a whole playoff series played in LA, with no technically away games or home games beside technicalities. And you got Oklahoma at Dallas. I think the young athleticism of Dallas would pose a problem to the Thunder. I think it would push them to the edge, and the Thunder would win in 7. Also, side note, Steven Adams, class act. What he did was Plumlee the other day. I've said that before in my game pick video, but if you don't know, look it up. Athletes like that I always have a soft spot for them because they're cool and they're nice. Yeah, I got Oklahoma City in this one in 7. I think the inexperience in the end is going to hurt Dallas. I think Dallas does a decent job defending home court in that series. I think one other problem for Oklahoma City is their inconsistent shooting would pose a problem, but I think they could get hot at the right time. You have Golden State, Memphis. I think the younger side, the more athletic side, the better shooting side of Golden State would get the advantage of Memphis with a 4-game sweep. That is not to underestimate Memphis at all. I just don't think this is a good matchup for them whatsoever. Say the seeding was a little bit different. Say the Memphis got LA in the first round and the Golden State had to deal with the Lakers or the Nuggets, and somehow they could knock out the Warriors. I think Memphis would have a possible path to the NBA Finals just because they're that kind of team that plays so tough. They're technically never out of it, but I think just Golden State would be too overwhelming for them head to head. And then in the East, you have Toronto at Orlando, 4-game sweep, athleticism, guard play, forward play, center play. I think, well, besides center play, I think it all favors the Raptors. I think they have more depth as well. The problem with the Orlando Magic is Evan Fournier is probably their best guard player currently, but even he's not that consistent. Their best player overall, I would have to say, would be Nikola Vucevic. Or Vucevic, however you pronounce it, I do apologize. But he's not enough to carry them past Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors. And the Philadelphia 76ers at the Boston Celtics. Interesting chemistry issues with Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid, so it'll be interesting to see when Jimmy Butler's back in the lineup how it goes. Will they trade Markelle Fultz? Will he be back in the lineup by the time the playoff series would roll around? That's to be seen too as well. Celtics wildly inconsistent as of late. They'd go off a game win streak, but then had, I believe, Tatum, Morris, Hayward, Rozier, and Brown combined to be, I think, like 0 for 17 or something from 3 last night and a 9-point loss. If you would have just made 4 of them, you would have won the game. If you were 4 for 17 between like the 5 of you, you would have won the game. So there's that. Inconsistent shooting would be the biggest risk to the Celtics, so I would pick the 76ers here, mainly because I believe they have the advantage with Joel Embiid in 7. I think it would be a close game for sure. Plus, I don't know if the Celtics' health will hold up. I love their depth, but health issues don't seem to be favoring the Celtics, and they don't look promising for the future if they play as hard and physical as they have been as of late, because they don't have the best durability. And you have the Pacers at the Pistons. This one's very interesting for sure. I would pick the Pacers in this one in 6, just because I believe the Pistons will have a couple games at least where they control the boards, get the W that way, whether it be offensive rebounds or defensive. Well, Oladipo, and the Pacers proved without Oladipo in the lineup that they can really get going. Miles Turner is playing better. I think the matchup of Turner versus Andre Drummond would be a fun series. So yeah, I would pick the Pacers in 6. And you have the Bucks at the Hornets. If the Hornets can make a trade for another player to solidify that roster, I think they could seriously contend with the Bucks. But until then, I think Giannis would carry them. I kind of wish Giannis would extend his game a little bit, just that way he could use his pure athleticism even more. I mean, granted, there's not many people who can stop him, even when his repertoire isn't technically as massive as most players. So, let's simulate the current round, and we lose Brandon Ingram day to day. Oh no. This is, this simulation's shocking. Mavericks losing in 5, oh, understandable. Warriors in 6, understandable. Lakers in 7, understandable. But Portland beating Denver in 6 is very interesting. 4-game sweep of the Magic, understandable, but the Sixers getting swept, I don't know if I can agree with that. I can see the Pacers one happen because I did say in 6, so 5 and 6 is close. And Charlotte beating the Bucks in 5 games. You mean the Bucks can't even take 2 games against the freaking Hornets? Holy shit. And then in the next round, we have the Hornets taking down the Pacers. So, according to this simulation here, the Hornets would meet in the Eastern Conference Finals with the Raptors, and the Lakers would meet the Warriors after taking 2 7-game series over the Clippers and the Trailblazers. Golden State sweeping the Thunder is very interesting for sure. Now, I normally would go into more in depth in these second round matchups, but I usually do that in the first round. Oh, yet again, we have the Pacers Raptors, which are the Warriors Raptors, which is usually what happens. But the fact that the Hornets managed to win 9 games this postseason simulation is absolutely incredible. And yet again, the Warriors the Raptors cannot close out the Warriors in this simulation. 31 points per game for Kevin Durant, 9.2 rebounds, really good statistics here, shooting 56%. I'm shocked. The Warriors, the Hornets have me shocked. Not much more I can say.